today's the day. It's still cold, had this for a while. This video is going to be just about setting up a pivot polisher. So this is the pivot polisher. Point this downward just a bit for a second and see if I can get this in focus a bit. There it is there. So this came with a bunch of stuff. It came with this string or whatever. It feels like it's wax string. I set this up before, and the problem I have is that when you set it up with the lathe and you run this string underneath this pulley here, right here, like that, and you have to tie a knot in there. So you end up tying a knot to make the string one continuous loop around the pulleys. And when this runs through, there's not enough room underneath this pulley for the knot to get through. So I thought, what else can I use to drive this pulley other than this string? And who did this in the first place? Like, there must be some secret that I don't know about. Anyway, this is the pivot polisher here, and it's got a rocker here like this. So when you have the pivot set up here, you rock this polisher towards the pivot, and you have these laps or whatever they're called, and they go on the end like that. So when this pivot polisher spins, it's spinning usually in the opposite direction as the collet is turning with the parting, like the balance staff, for example. So these are set up. Some of them are sort of 90 degrees on the end, and some of them are rounded. And if you want to do conic shaped pivots on the end, you have to get a rounded one. The three that came with this don't seem to have a rounded one, but I can probably find or make a lap that would fit on here that would do the job. Plus you have to use dynamite paste or some kind of a paste to grind the pivot. So you want the paste to be a fine paste that you put on here. You mix it with oil, and then you put it on here, and then you use that to grind the pivot. So there's not a lot of material written on how to use these things. But what I do know is that this fits like this, and then you've got these here, which are the pulleys that go. I'll show you how it fits together in a second. But you leave this in kind of the short configuration, and then you rope it around, and then when you're ready to go, you use this to tighten all of the cable or the rope or the cord or whatever you want to call it, right? So, and then this unscrews here to loosen that, and there's plenty of settings. This came with a pin on the end so the pulley wouldn't come off. I had to make this pin for this side. I think I'll just snip the top off this too with a pair of snippers. But anyway, I had to make this because there was no pin on this side, but I just used a lathe and I cut it down to size and got about a 2-degree angle in the cut, and it worked perfect. So that's the pivot polisher. So I'm going to take this out, and then I'm going to move the lathe in position and show you how this thing kind of fits. So stage one. I'm going to do it as I speak, as I go along. That way, hopefully it's a bit more interesting. Anyway, played a really cool game of pool today. It's called cards. And what you do is you get an 8-ball table, and you set it up like you're going to play 8-ball. And let me get this adjusted so I can see what I'm up to here. You set it up like you're going to play 8-ball, and then you give 7 cards to each person. And it's usually 2 people or 4 people, but let's say it's 2. You give 7 cards to each person. And I just remove this because I can use this for the pivot polisher. This is ADHD moments. So I have ADHD. I can't pay attention to anything, but when I do, it's really clear. That's a joke. ADHD. Get it? Anyway, so it's high definition. Anyway, so this game, you deal out 7 cards each, and then whatever cards you've dealt, those are the balls that you have to hit in the pool table. So if you deal out 2, 4, 5, like 2, 3, 7, 9, 10, 11 is a jack, 12 is a queen, and the king is 13, the 13 ball, and then whoever hits the balls and gets rid of their cards first wins. And there's other little rules, but look up card pool. It's actually pretty fun. I played it with my buddy this morning, and it was a good adventure. Anyway, adventure in playing crazy card games. I'll turn this sideways so you can see it a bit better. So this is it. I'm just going to adjust the lighting a bit so there isn't so much glare. Yeah. So I just slid this onto the where the tip over tool rest normally goes, and you just tighten that. And this particular device does, like I said before, it's got a couple of screws here for adjusting things, but what you want to do is you want to adjust. I'm going to haul it out really fast and just keep chatting while I'm doing this, and maybe get a piece of wire or something so I can show you here. So it's a I gotta find the right piece here. That'll do. So I just got a number 8. The number 8 collet. I got a squeaky chair. Anyways, the number 8 collet here. So I put that in here like this. The lapping thing just fell off the end here. That's another thing I gotta make sure. So I put the 8 in there like that. Screw that down a little bit. I'll just put a piece of blued steel in here like I was going to make I'll just pretend to pivot. This is a pivot for a balance staff, or just a straight pivot, maybe for a number 2 wheel or something, right? So I would have the pivot like that, tighten that up like this, then get the lapping disc here. Then I'd align this, right, so that it is, when I put the lap, whatever it's called, on here like this, that this is close as possible to the pivot on the end, like that I'm going to be burnishing or lapping. Again, if you know more about this than I do, please correct me. So I put it very close, not touching it, but very close. And I think I'm loosening this up in the bottom, so I'll turn that the other way. So that's pretty close there, like that. And then I'm going to be, as you can see, when I do this, it touches right there. It touches that pivot on the end. So if this were a wheel on the end and the pivot were sticking out, then this would be the pivot, and I'd be smoothing out this part here. You have to reconfigure it the other way so that this is this way if you're going to do a balance staff, the end of a balance staff, and then the actual part of the lap that's touching this would be the edge here. Now the other thing that you have to consider is whether this lap is below or above dead center here. So this is the pivot here. So if I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here, and this is stuff I've read, so I'm not an expert in this yet until I start doing it. So it's not usually dead center. It's either above or below dead center. I would tend to make it as it's turning this way, right, and the collet is turning this way, like that. Let me just see if I can turn this collet a bit. So the collet would be turning this way, and so the vector is going up here. So the vector here would have to be going down, which means it's turning this way, right, against it. And then as I'm spinning this, I'd be touching this. You can see how it makes it turn, right? Well, it's not supposed to turn. It's supposed to go the other way. So, and this is friction fit. So it's like a tapered end here, so it's friction fit. And and it will spin the other way once I get the cords on. So I would use the dynamite powder. Let me have a look at it. I'd use this powder here. This is, I think, very usable. This is Eureka powder. Diamantine. Diamantine? D-I-A-M-A-N-T-I-N-E. I think it's, or D-R maybe. No, D-I. Diamantine. Diamantine? Diamantine. Diamantine and Eureka, made in Switzerland. So a little bit of this powder, right? This diamond, I keep thinking of JJ from the old TV show. Dynamite. Anyway, this kind of, I should try not to be funny. Anyway, this powder mixed with a little tiny bit of oil to make a paste, and then you put that on the lapping tool, and then use that, and that would be used to give it a bit of roughness so that you could actually have the lapping tool be burnishing the pivot itself, right? And when you burnish something, if you spin it fast, it's going to temper it. It's going to heat it up and harden it. So if you want to burnish the end of the pivot a bit, you got to watch you don't harden it too much. It becomes crisp, becomes fragile. So then in this thing, this pulley system here sticks in here. So this is the pulley here at the end, and that sticks in right here. I notice, like I said, that rope that I got doesn't seem to want to work for this. So I thought, and I'm not sure whether this will work or not, but I thought if I used waxed dental floss, this is waxed dental floss, that I might be able to spin this with the waxed dental floss, and it should be able to go underneath here when I make a knot. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to make waxed dental floss, and I'm going to just reposition the camera so you can see how this thing hangs together. Okay, now I'm going to attempt to move that floss around the pulleys here. And so I'll have to, as Donald Trump says, or actually on Saturday Night Live, I'll have to apologize if I make too many mistakes. So I think it goes around this way first, right? And then it's going underneath the pulley this way. Hopefully I don't screw this up totally. Anyway, if I do, too bad. It's going underneath the pulley this way, and then it goes up again, like this. I'm going to run out of floss here. And then it goes, I think I totally screwed this up. Because somehow I've got to turn this, it's got to go through the pulley again. So it's can't go through the same pulley, so what am I doing here? So let me just turn the camera off and figure this out. Alrighty then, I'm back. I remember that both pulleys go over the top and then they go loop around this pulley here. So both of these pulleys, the cord or string or whatever, goes over the top and it loops around there. And then this side, it's either underneath this way or over the other way. It just depends on which direction I want the pulley to spin. So I'm trying to figure this out by turning the pulley this way. If I turn the pulley counterclockwise this way, it's going to push this way. And does that make sense? So like this is the opposite. This will pull this up. So if I want this pulley to pull this way, I put this cord on this side. So a lot of this is, which would be, this would be spinning this way, so this has to spin the other way, like that. So I think this goes underneath. So we'll try that for now and just see if the darn thing works. So this is dental floss, remember. So it's just amazing. Another use for dental floss. I am not sure if this will work though, so since I got a ton of dental floss, I just cut that at the bottom. So now I've got basically the pulley configured. So I'm going to tie a knot in this dental floss, and if it's the wrong direction, I just break the knot. It's just dental floss, right? So it doesn't matter. So let me tie a couple of knots in here, because this will easily go under the pulley. So tie the knot, and I'm showing you how I'm doing it just so when you go to do this, when you have an opportunity to buy one of these things, you go to do it, you don't feel like you failed miserably. I'm going to tie one more knot, because the knot's really small on this compared to the knot on the cord. Now again, I don't know if this will drive the pulley because it's just dental floss. I know it'll clean your teeth. I'm not sure if it'll drive the pulley. Maybe you can use it to clean your teeth. This would be kind of cool. So now that I've got it like this, it's a bit loose, right? So I've got to tighten it. So what I do is I loosen this down below, and I just pull this up like that, and that tightens the whole rig, like so. And then down here, there's a screw down here that I can use right there to tighten the pulley itself so it doesn't pop out. So I tighten that. And then I look at where this is with respect to this balance staff. Whatever I'm going to burnish, is it below or above the wheel? So I think if you're attacking it from a different angle, it'll affect like this way. It affects the angle of the cone of the pivot. So just look that up. Like if it's above or below, it depends on it affects the angle of the cone of the pivot. So this here, these two screws here are what you use to raise or lower this. So I just have to loosen that like that, and as you can see, it lowers it. And if I want to raise it, I have to tighten this here, loosen this, right, and then tighten this. And that will raise it up, and it tightens the cord to be advised. If this is going lower, it's going to tighten this cord up. So, and then once you have it the right height, you tighten both of these up. Let's just say that's the right height right there, right? And then I don't want this to actually touch the collet, so I want to make sure this is moved out just a bit so I don't have that problem. And also, you have to adjust the pulley here sometimes so that the whole thing is not going to come off. So, and again, I don't know whether that's going to happen. Now there's a micrometer here, right there. So there's a little small micrometer. Maybe I should zoom in just a bit and see if I can catch it on the zoom. Yeah, I think so. So there's a micrometer here, and this micrometer simply determines how deep this can go, right? So you want to set it so the pulley can't go so far as to allow the lapping tool to hit the collet, because it'll ruin your collet, right? Another thing I can do too is I can move this out just a bit. It's about fine tuning, I think. So that's out. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good distance right there. I think I have to. There we go. Just to sharpen that image just a bit. So there we go there. I got the camera sitting in a box. So let me see if this thing will actually spin. So if I just start turning this. Oh, look at that, ladies and germs. It spins. So if I have this spinning like this, it seems to ride back, so I'm not sure what that's all about. But you can hold this here while this is spinning, because this also spins. It seems to turn the pulley nicely. So now which way is this spinning? This is going, it's actually going in the same direction as this, so the vectors are both going up here. So down here where this thing is, I should have switched it the other way. So this cord should be coming through the back and the other one through the front. That way this is spinning in the other direction. It's spinning this way to go counter with the collet, I believe. Let me look now, because this is spinning like this. Yeah, so you want it spinning the other way. So now I could do that, but I'm not going to bother. But I just wanted to show you how this is set up. So using dental floss, it's waxed dental floss. It actually works really well. It goes right underneath the collet. So when I actually touch when I'm spinning that and I touch it, and I got to figure out a way again of making sure that the lap stays on. Like, do you tap it on the back? What do you do to keep that lap staying on? Because I'm touching it right now, but it's not spinning in the opposite direction, so it's not going to do much for the end here. So, and plus I don't have the dynamine stuff on there either, so it's not going to grind. So anyway, that's the setup for burnishing the pivot in this direction, like this. And if you're going to do it in the other direction, you have to loosen this up. I know I'm going to fail at this miserably, but I'm going to have to see if I can spin it around without breaking anything. So loosen that like this. And then what I want to do is I've got to take this whole rig off of this. So I'm not sure if I can do that without causing all kinds of problems. Unless I take this pulley out all together, right? And just kind of keep it in position. Just loosen that up a little more. And then keep that in position like that. Right? Then I can probably take that out. And then turn that around. And again, I don't know what this is going to do to all the cords and the pulleys and everything else. So this could be quite the adventure here. I should zoom out so you can see me screwing around with this. just to know that, there we go. So there, that's in like that. And then this here, you want to spin around the other way. So I don't want it to tangle, so I'm going to have to spin it inward. So there's a little lever right here you push down on. My hand's in the way, of course, of the camera. But there's a little lever right there you push on. I'm going to zoom out a bit. It's the world's most interesting pulley thing. So you push down on this little lever here, and that allows you to spin this all the way around. Now if I spin it this way, it's just going to tangle this cord up some more. So I'm going to try spinning it the other way, like that. Okay, and then move that over, and then I can push that out like this, and then I should be able to put this back in position. I'm going to loosen this up here at this point, loosen that up, and then pull it out like this, stick it into the device like that, and then I'm going to tighten it a bit. Now I've got this cord here is not on the pulley, so I've got to put that on the pulley. So again, loosen it up. This is like a lot of setup stuff, and when you're doing it on camera, it's not as good. My voice sounds really crappy. Anyway, so I loosen that up. I put that basically here. I'm going to just put that right like that, like so, and then tighten that up like that. Tighten the bottom of that where I normally have the tip over tool rest. This is tight, this is tight. This only matters if you're going to go back and forth on it. I'm tightening this up, but I got to pay attention to the top of these pulleys, because as you can see, the pulleys are flat, but this pulley here is not lined up with this pulley in the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen this pulley in the back with my handy dandy screwdriver. I just pull it in the right direction here, and I'm going to loosen that pulley. I should put some glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. Loosen that pulley, and then I'm moving it out to better align with the rig I have going here. And then I'm going to tighten that up again. Again, more play-by-play, right? I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. So there, that's tightened up again. Right, so that's better aligned with this here. And I can even turn this a bit outward and then tighten it on the top. So because you can tighten the top part right here and just put it at an angle, just so the pulleys are all aligned. And then the final thing I'm going to do is just pull the mast up a bit, tighten this here on the bottom. This is the screw here that tightens the mast here. I'll just call it a mast for now. Probably has another name. And then I'm just going to pull up on that till I've got some, so it's fairly tight, and hopefully that'll drive the whole pulley. So there we go there. So it's set up now, as you can see. I'll zoom in on this again now and see if I can see some action here. And again, you got to have the pulley direction right. So in this case here, the collet will spin. The collet is spinning this way, right? Which means the vector is up. So this vector here needs to be down. So I think my wife just walked in the door, so I'm going to tell her not to come upstairs and yell. Just hang on a second. Alrighty, I turned it off to go have a chat with my wife. Anyway, she's very understanding. She came up and gave me that look again, which is the look she gives me when she's pretending she's interested in watch repair. Anyway, so here's the pulley, and here's the whole configuration here. It's all set up with the dental floss. Basically, let me move this out a little bit here. Basically, I have this here, which can push against this, right? So I believe, because I've got the stop here with a micrometer, I set this up so it moves back and forth. I have it pretty tight right now, so if I move it out just a tad, like that, then it'll be able to move like this. So I'll tighten that, and whenever you move stuff around, the fishing line loosens, or not fishing line, the dental floss will loosen and stuff. So my wife actually asked me, she said, can't you use fishing line for this? I don't think so, because it's got to have some grip on it, right? So as you can see here, it moves in and out like that. and I probably have it the wrong direction, like I said. So I have one vector is going, the vector here is going up, and this vector is actually going down, so this is correct. So as I turn this, if I had the oil or the dynamo or whatever it's called, diamondite, you would put the oil on there and the dynamite on there, and you would be spinning this, right? And I read somewhere where you want this to be the exact same speed as the collet turning, which means that you have to fire it around with your lathe belts here so that you have different speeds. Because right now I have little belt here and big belt here, which gives me a ton of torque. But maybe I don't want the torque, I just want them to be even. So I probably want small belt or normal size, the pulley size to be exactly the same here. So I want this the same as this. And in this case, I've got a bigger pulley down here turning a smaller pulley here. So this is going to basically spin a little faster. So I got to do some regulation probably if I wanted them to be exactly the same. And then I can just touch it like this as it's spinning. Whatever noise that was. This thing's got attitude. There we go. So there, it would be taking some stuff off it there. I think it's the bearings on my countershaft making that noise, by the way. So the new noise could be the motor. Anyway, just touch it that way, and it's going to be with the diamondite or whatever. It's going to be taking material off or burnishing the end of the pivot. So that's basically how this thing works. So I don't know if I have any other information until I do some real pivot work with it. This is just a steel rod in here, so I'd have to put a real pivot in there, and I'm sure that would, it's a lot smaller than this, so because this would be a pivot for a balance staff that I'd be using, so it'd be probably 0.9 millimeters on the end, or 0.09 millimeters on the end rather. So 0.09 or 0.08 or 0.10, somewhere in there. And I'd be spinning this like this, and then it would touch that. And so it seems to be working pretty good actually, other than the stupid noise that the motor's making. I think that's the motor making the noise. Where is that noise coming from? That is the noise of a dead squirrel. Anyway, forget the noise. The rig seems to work really well. I'll slow it down a bit. The whole rig seems to work exceptionally well, and that's how you use it. So I gotta shut up now. That's the pivot polisher. And if you want to go back and forth, I guess you can touch that and then move it. I wouldn't recommend doing that, but you can move it slightly this way. But the other thing is, you could put this on a cross slide. I'm not sure how to affix this to a cross slide yet. I haven't been able to do that. But so in summary, this is a pivot polisher. It's vintage. Probably I've seen it in the catalog. That's from 1920, so it's a pretty old pivot polisher. This part rotates here. This part tightens the mast. This part gives you the rocking up and down to see whether this is below or above where it would need to be. Right now, this is below, right? So if I wanted to raise that, I'd loosen this like I did earlier. I'd be tightening, I'd be going this way, so I need to tighten this one and loosen the other one, right? So I need to tighten this one up here, like that. And loosen the other one, or tighten the other one up too. So I'm losing my voice. Anyway, so that's it. If you have any questions, let me know. And thanks for watching the movie, or the video. Alright, here it is in full operation, as you can see. So just press this here, and away you go. Seems to be working perfectly, no issues at all. Look at that down floss fly.